because we've been covering everything that's been happening with Alex Pretti from the time he was shot, tragically shot by this Department of Homeland Security, this Border Patrol agent, as they were tussling, going back and forth. And many of you have seen that video where we covered that. Now there's more information coming out about maybe the reasons why Alex Pretti was having this disdain towards ICE, towards the Department of Homeland Security, towards Border Patrol. And we even seeing some interactions he had before he was shot and killed. You know, this is going to get interesting. This footage was initially released by BBC, and I saw the footage and I could not believe that it was real. I didn't think it was Alex Pretti at first, because the difference we were seeing in this video versus what we saw in the video that happened recently when he was killed, it was dramatic. And obviously the narrative that was being painted by the media was that he was a nice guy. He was an ICU nurse. He was working with vets. He had the utmost respect for people. His family loved him. Now we have this from Redline News says, whoa, newly obtained BBC footage reveals Alex Pretti armed and out of control. Oh, man. Spitting on federal agents and damaging a vehicle just a week before his death. The nurse who would never hurt anyone, as they say. Check this out if y'all haven't seen this video. I was shocked, to be honest.
This is a moment the news movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Pretti interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him.
Just being a regular person, how would you guys feel if somebody did this to your car? Your feelings for Alex Pretti and for ICE aside, how would you guys feel if somebody did that? Not to mention, if you have any doubt that this is a video of Alex Pretti, if you think it's AI, we're going to debunk some of that shortly. But this has been verified by his family that this is him, and he was at this event and at this protest.
Immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him. Our footage was analyzed by the BBC, whose facial recognition technology confirmed his identity to a 97% degree of accuracy. On the morning of January 13th.
Now, I'm going to let the video finish playing, but you guys can see right here. If we pause it there, he was armed again. He was armed this time as well, and you can see it there.
On the morning of January 13th,
our
team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36th and Park Avenue in Minneapolis. We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent then got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground.
It's a wonder why he wasn't arrested then.
During the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat, and he walks away. The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Pretti was wearing on the day he was killed. What appears to be a gun is also visible above his waistband.
Yeah, you can see it really good there now. Dang.
Here, he continues to stand at the scene.
Look at all these people out here. What are these people? How did they get away with this? Don't they have to go to work?
On the day he was killed, the Department of Homeland Security claims Pretti, a 37-year-old ICU nurse, approached officers holding a handgun. That claim has been contradicted by analysis of bystander videos from multiple news investigations, which concluded that Pretti was holding a phone, not a gun, when he was pinned to the street.
And they're still going. Wow.
Shortly after the altercation we filmed here on January 13th, federal agents drove away. Soon after that, we left the scene.
So you're probably wondering, well, what does this have to do with Alex Pretti being shot and killed? Well, to me, it doesn't have anything to do with it other than the fact that there were a lot of narratives out there. And I even corrected the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. I corrected Greg Bovino when they said it appeared he went there to inflict damage. It appeared he went there the day he was shot to get into it with law enforcement, to cause issues to law enforcement. And I said, whoa, guys, chill out. We don't know that. Well, now that we see this video, it changes things a little bit about Alex's intentions of going to that protest, not only armed, and some would say legally, we don't know, because it's alleged that he wasn't armed legally because he didn't have his ID on him. But the fact that he was willing to do this against federal law enforcement, I mean, maybe that leaves the door open for speculation, although it be speculation, that Alex wanted to cause harm and he was wanting to go there to get some action. Now, we do have another angle of this video that shows some of what he was saying and the interaction with these ICE agents in this case. How he wasn't arrested. This is insane. Only thing I could think of is maybe because local law. So then we've got more information here, and shout out to Amy for posting this over on X. If y'all do not follow Amy on X, make sure you do that at IAMYLEIGH on X. That's at IAmyLee on X. She has a little bit more information on what he was saying, although most of us probably heard what he said. Amy says, for those who didn't believe the truth, and you said the last video was AI, which it's not. It's been verified by his family that it wasn't. Here is another angle. The family has confirmed it was him. CNN and other news stories have posted it and confirmed it as well. He says, what the F is wrong with you? If y'all can hear it.
Pretti is seen yelling at officers and taunting them. Pretti's family confirmed their son was the man spitting at an ICE vehicle before smashing the taillight in the video.
Y'all said you heard it? Yeah. Again, why? Why, man? Why? And it's the weird thing about this too is that if he had been arrested that day, maybe he would still be alive. It's possible. Amy also posted this on X. 1 week before he died, CNN reports Alex Pretti had a physical confrontation with federal agents just before the Minneapolis shooting. He was reportedly observing ICE when agents tackled him, leaving him with a broken rib. Now, what we saw in that video doesn't look like a situation where he would break a rib. I mean, they grabbed him. He wasn't tackled by them and pushed him to the ground to stop him from doing what he was doing. And then they moved on with their day. So this could be in reference to another situation that Alex had, which would be wild. Amy says records reviewed by CNN also show he was known to federal law enforcement prior to the fatal encounter, which could be important. This wasn't the first interaction. This wasn't out of nowhere. And that context changes how his story is being told. And a lot of people aren't silent on this, which is unfortunate. I wish, and that's why we're going to keep doing what we're doing here, because we just look at things objectively. You don't really have to pick a side in these cases because that's what the court's proceedings are for. And now that we know this information, that is going to factor into how things proceed moving forward from a legal standpoint. With the charges, with the interaction, a lot of people are saying, well, this has nothing to do with the day he was shot. This has everything to do with the day he was shot. And if you want to think to yourself that if this goes to trial and that federal agent has to stand trial, and this video of how Alex was treating and behaving towards these federal agents isn't going to be shown, then I think you're kidding yourself. What does CNN say here? Alex Pretti broke a rib in a confrontation with federal agents a week before his death, sources say. Federal immigration officers have been collecting personal information about protesters and agitators in Minneapolis, sources told CNN. and had documented details about Alex Pretti before he was shot to death on Saturday. If so, that's going to change a lot. It is unclear how Pretti first came to the attention of federal authorities, but sources told CNN that about a week before his death, he suffered a broken rib when a group of federal officers tackled him while he was protesting their attempt to detain other individuals. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security said that the Department of Homeland Security law enforcement has no record of that incident. We haven't seen it on video yet. Maybe it's out there somewhere. A memo sent earlier this month to agents temporarily assigned to the city asked them to capture all images, license plates, identifications, and general information on hotels, agitators, protesters, etc. So we can capture it all in one consolidated form, according to the correspondence reviewed by CNN. Pretti's previous encounter in another reflection of an aggressive approach federal agents are taking with observers and protesters, a philosophy underscored by the request of the agents to collect information about protesters whose activities are broadly protected by the First Amendment. Yeah, not kicking and breaking a taillight and spitting on the federal agents. I mean, again, I'm not sure why or how he wasn't arrested in that case. DHS has repeatedly warned of threats against federal law enforcement officers during immigration enforcement operations and criticized protesters who they argue are impeding those operations. There's no argument. They're impeding those investigations and the operations, and they're doing it intentionally. On Tuesday, the department also published an online tip form to share information about people allegedly harassing ICE officers. When our law enforcement officers are violent agitator who is breaking the law, obstructing law enforcement, or assaulting them, our law enforcement makes records to advance prosecution. This is not groundbreaking. It is a standard protocol, said DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin. The earlier incident started when he stopped his car after observing ICE agents chasing what he described as a family on foot and began shouting and blowing his whistle, according to a source who asked not to be named out of fear of retribution. Interesting. Pretti later told the source that 5 agents tackled him and one leaned on his back. In an encounter that left him with a broken rib, the agents quickly released him from the scene. That day, he thought he was going to die, said the source. Pretti was later given medical consent with treating the broken rib, according to the records reviewed by CNN. Very interesting. So again, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, specifically with the FBI's investigation into this. We've already heard from the president, who said, I'm going to look at this closely. We want to see what happens here. They clearly did not like or were not happy with how things were being handled on the side of ICE as well, because they pulled Greg Bovino out of there. They brought in Tom Homan. Tom Homan's making a ton of changes, which we want to get into because, again, that's leaning more towards the political side. And I want to stay away from that and focus more on the facts. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes moving forward with the investigation. And local law enforcement now is getting more involved in what's going on with ICE and with these protests specifically. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and in the chat.